LA Mayor Karen Bass with the post on X saying that anyone who's looting or vandalizing areas does not care about immigrant communities and will be held accountable. Let's bring in Doug Flynn for a moment on the cost of it all, co-founder Flynn Zito Capital Management, which small business, so it sounds cliche, but they drive things in this country. LA is no different. So what happens in these situations?
Yeah, I mean, even store owners that have a franchise of a bigger store, you think you're looting some big company store. In some cases you might be, but it might be a small business owner who owns that store. And really what you have to do as a small business owner, which is one of the things that we talk to our small business owner clients about, is to check your insurance policy. There's standard commercial property insurance, and it covers things like riots and the like, not only against the building, but also for the contents. Now, if your store gets wiped out and you can't work, that's a different thing. That's not covered. You might lose income. You have to look in to see whether or not you have what's called business interruption insurance. So it's a separate thing that you might take a look at. But get your policy out, read it, understand if you have any exclusions. A weird thing is they exclude terrorism. So if something gets deemed terrorism, all bets might be off. So you really need to understand what you have. But those types of policies can go a long way to, if you get affected by something like this out of your control, no matter what anybody does, if you get affected, you have to look and say, well, that's why I have insurance. That's why I pay that. But unfortunately, as a lot of times happens, not everybody has the proper coverages, and then they end up losing money.
Yeah, that is a weird thing that you bring up about terrorism. Would that apply to so-called domestic terrorism, or do you know, or would it just be foreign terrorism?
It's a good question, which sometimes you really don't want it to be deemed terrorism. Right. Same thing that happens with like a homeowner insurance policy, where if it's deemed a hurricane versus a flood, they're totally different coverages. So once again, you probably haven't looked at your policy. You probably never even read it or talked to your person about what you do and don't have. Good idea as a business owner, especially if you're in these hotbed areas. What do I have? What would I be covered? And take a look. Make sure you got the proper coverages so you do know what's included and what's excluded.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have to deal with it in some of these cities. So hopefully that's the worst of it gone, and it doesn't continue tonight. We'll be watching closely, of course. Doug, thank you.